Welcome back to another episode of Drew's Creations. We got this little 011 here on the table today, and figured we'd bring you along for the ride to do a little bit of a oil pump repair on it. Just recently acquired this little saw. To give you a little history on it. Seems to be a pretty low hour saw and pretty good shape to be as old as it is, and compression is really good. These are desirable to the guys that like them, but there's a lot of people out there that don't like this saw or know about the oil pump issues on these particular saws. This one here in particular did not oil when I got it, did not run when I got it, and we've got it running. It still needs a little TLC there, but it seemed to run pretty good when it runs, and we got it to oil. The oil pump was stopped up. Had some old oil in there that was clogging everything up. The foam pickup in the tank was deteriorated, rotted, whatever you want to call it. I think pieces of that also got up in there and kind of stopped it up. But took it apart, washed it all out, inspected the rare or impossible to find diaphragms. And the diaphragm in this particular pump was actually in pretty good shape. The gasket did tear when we took it apart, so today's video is going to be basically repairing the leak and putting a new pickup in there. You can still buy the pickup and the gasket. I got these off eBay. Here's the OEM Stihl part number for the pickup. And there's what it comes with. It's just a piece of foam and that little plastic piece, I guess, that sits up in the foam. We'll figure that out when we get it apart. And here's how the gaskets came. Here's the part numbers for these. So without further ado, we're gonna get started here. I'll give you a rundown of the saw. I'll let you see it. It's dirty, but it's in overall pretty good shape. The AV mounts are in good shape, which is another problem with these things. They typically tend to rot and stuff, but this saw seems to be in pretty good shape. Original bar, or close to original bar. It's an older era Stihl Rollomatic, one of the ones that was manufactured in Virginia Beach, USA. But anyway, without further ado, we're gonna get started here. Put you up on the tripod. Oh, and by the way, we did get a new foam, so hopefully the camera quality is a lot better than before. I think it is so far. It looks really good. So anyway, here we go. We're gonna start by removing the bar to get it out of the way and take the clutch cover off. Just makes life easier. And well, you kind of have to do it to get to the part we need to get to. Hope everyone's doing well. Well, I am. I love getting out here and being able to work on these things. It's nice to be able to work on them because it's relaxing and yet rewarding when you take something old and forgotten or damaged or broken or whatever and you bring it back to life. I'll turn around here so y'all can see it. We're gonna be taking out these 3 screws right here on the oil pump. I'm probably gonna have to get an actual flathead screwdriver here. Trying to use this wrench for everything. I'm gonna use an actual flathead screwdriver. Take this oil pump out. I do still have oil in the tank, so hopefully it don't leak out everywhere. I'm hoping having it turned up on its side, it shouldn't leak. But we'll find out. If it does, oh well, we'll just have to clean it. Something you deal with on old saws is just dealing with oily, dirty, grimy mess sometimes. But that's what makes them great, is that they're not perfect. They're not perfect by no means. Parts are trying to blow away here. Got a little bit of wind, but it feels nice. I've been kind of waiting to do this video for the last little while. It's been kind of hot. It's been in the 90s today, and it's not really pleasant to be outside if you don't have to be. I know I don't like being outside, but I have to work in it, so that's part of my issue is I work in it all day, and then I don't want to come home and be in it any more than I have to be. So I try to escape it when I can, but I still can't resist coming out here and tinkering with power saws in the afternoon sometimes. And there's our oil pump. Got it out of there. Got an oily mess here. Try to get the rest of that foam out of there. Got a piece of foam sitting in the tank here. And there's what's left of the old foam. It's falling apart. We got to get this gasket scraped off, get it cleaned up and everything, and then we'll be right back with the install. So we're gonna go get some rags and whatnot, clean it up and do that real quick. All right, we're back. Okay, so got our gasket installed here underneath the diaphragm here. Make sure your gasket goes down first, then your diaphragm on this side. And also be sure that you got that little spring in there, puts tension on your diaphragm. And then put your pump together just like so. Install your second gasket. And there you have it. And then go ahead and slip this little piece on. Be sure to have it lined up just like so, where your oil holes can get oil. Slip your sock or foam piece down on there. Then this piece. And make sure you push it all the way up until it clicks around that barb to keep the filter pushed up. And now we can reinstall it in the saw. So we'll go ahead and reconnect our oil line here. Go ahead and reinstall it. Be sure to inspect it for holes, cracks, and whatnot. You can just go ahead and plop it on down in there. And now we're ready for screws. Drop our screws back down. As soon as we wipe a little bit of oil off our hands here. It's important to keep rags around for this job, and brake cleaner or carburetor cleaner, whatever you got. Go ahead and snug down our screws. It's important to go ahead and start all three at the same time just to make sure that everything's lined up like it ought to be. And now we're going to go ahead and run them down until they surface. That one surfaced. And that one goes down. That one is about to be. Alright, we're going to just snug them up now evenly here. Have new gaskets and a new sock on our oil pump. Alright, just double check them. And we're good to go. Just spray that off with brake clean and wipe it off. We've got a little bit of an oil spill. It's better to drain your saw before you do this. I did not, however. I just wanted, I had a full tank of oil, so I really didn't want to drain it. That's why I kept it up on its side like I did. Now we can reinstall our bar. Get our bar reinstalled. Sure we put our chain on the right way. Certainly don't want to put it on backwards. They don't cut too good when they're on backwards. Unless you sharpen the tooth backwards, you can. You can in fact do that. It's not recommended though. Don't recommend you sharpening your tooth backwards. I have seen people do that, by the way. That's why I said that. Never thought it was possible either. But I've gotten in saws before that people have done some crazy things to you won't believe. Back up on it. Side here to make it a little easier. Go ahead and put our clutch cover back on. We're just gonna run our nut down with our fingers. I'm just gonna run it down a little bit to kind of hold it in place. All right, snugged. Now we'll tighten the chain. I'm gonna use a screwdriver for this because it's a little bit easier to reach in there to the bar here. Check our tension. Go a little bit tighter. That's good. Go ahead and snug it down. Check our tension again, make sure it turns. And it does turn freely. It'll turn much better once it gets a little more oil to the bar, but it's turning. Turning well enough. Make sure we got some gas in it. It's a very, very important thing, making sure we got gas. It does in fact have some gas in it. Alright, let's see if she'll fire off. Get you over here. We'll set our throttle lock, set our choke, and give it some pulls. I don't know if that was a real one or not, guys. It might have been a doozy. Alright, as you can see, she did start up in the video, and it started surprisingly well. But we had a little technical difficulty here. I found out another little issue with the saw. I figured I'd show you what I found. I went to put the bar on and everything. I thought I had it too tight, but I did not. And when I took it back off, I spun this clutch drum and noticed that the drum, or the sprocket, is bent. Sure you can see that. Somehow, never in my life have I seen that unless the saw's been crushed. And this saw hasn't been crushed. Somebody has bent the sprocket. So, unfortunately, I won't be able to bar it up right now because it's making the chain's trying to do this in the groove in the. I'll just show you a little easier. Chain is binding up in the bar because the sprocket is bent. It's got a couple of tight spots on it when it rolls around. Like I said, I got this saw about a week ago and I don't know nothing about it really. I've just been kind of finding out as I go here. But as it's spinning, it's trying to go side to side inside the groove, and when it gets to a certain point, it binds up and it makes the chain almost impossible to turn on the bar because of the sprocket. So there's that. But we will fire it back up and we will show you that it's oiling. It's actually running surprisingly well. I was thoroughly surprised with it. Something that's been sitting for, I have no idea how long. I put fuel lines in it and went cleaned the carburetor and put it back together, and here's what we got. I don't want to rev it too much there because it's out of balance. As you can see, it's really bad out of balance. So it's causing a lot of vibration, and I don't want to damage anything any worse than it already is. But that's where we're at with it. This was a little video on a little how-to on the oiler on these things. There's a couple of videos on YouTube of these things, but I haven't seen a whole lot. But that is how you put an oil pump gasket, and also replace the diaphragm if you have to replace one, if you can find one, because as far as I know they're obsolete and I've not been able to source one, even though I'm glad mine was good because I thought I was going to have one. Mine ended up being good, so I got lucky. But anyway, that's a little take on the 011 oil pump repair. If you've got a leaky one or something like that, that's where it's at. That's how you take it apart. It's pretty simple. Hopefully that helps somebody out there, and hopefully it provided entertainment for my everyday subscribers or whoever wants to see this video. Hope you enjoyed. Anyway, we're gonna get this mess cleaned up and probably try to source a sprocket for it and fix that up, and we might do another little video on some cutting on this little thing. So if you'd like to see that, let me know, and we'll see you on the next one. Over and out.